record what was written down so far. Okay, so we started off with a question which was posted up on Tuesday. This question here. So you could always copy this back if you don't have it as yet. Then we go on to step 1. We labeled in this diagram the HYP, the hypotenuse, the OPP, the opposite side, and the ADJ, the adjacent side. Label hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. Next, we write out the trig ratios. Ready for step 3. Step 3. Tick off what we know. What values we know. Values means numbers, right? What values we know. And put a question mark by values we don't know. Oh, we don't. D-O-N. Good. Write that down. Tick off what we know. Put a question mark by what we don't know. And we'll do it together. Copy it down up to here. And then raise your hand or tell me that you're done copy. And we'll continue together. Good. Jishon, you must remember to type in present when you're attending classes, or else the ministry will think you're absent all the time. Now that you're attending class here, I will know to be able to type in present for you this evening. But I don't know the other days when I don't have you for class. I wouldn't know if you're present or not. Thank you, Celine. You're done. Let's continue. Okay, time to tick off what we know and what we don't know. Okay, we know that the size of the angle that we're using for our calculation, we know the value of it, the number for it. It's 53.4. That is, we know that theta, the symbol theta is 53.4. Since we know theta is 53.4, we know that we could tick it off because we could then use the calculator and find the sine of 53.4. So yes, we tick off the theta. We also tick off this theta because that's the same 53.4, and that theta is also 53.4. In other words, this is sine 53.4. This is cosine of 53.4, and this is tangent of 53.4. Okay, so you tick off that. There's a reason why we're ticking off these things. It makes us know which one is usable and which one cannot be used. Okay. The next thing is, do I have a number or a value for the opposite side? The opposite side was called letter E, and they say find the length of E. We have to find the length of it. So they didn't give us the length of it. We don't know the number or the length of the opposite side. Since we don't know that, we have to put a question mark by it. Okay. What about the hypotenuse side? Do we have a number or value for the hypotenuse side? It is 19.4. We actually, the hypotenuse is 19.4. So we do have a number for that. We tick it off. Let's continue now. Cosine theta, we ticked off that. Do we know the adjacent side?
No, sir.
So we put a question mark on it. Do we know the hypotenuse value?
Yes, sir.
19.4. So we tick it off. Continuing now. Do we know the opposite side? No, that opposite side wasn't given to us. We put a question mark by it. Do I know the adjacent side? No, I don't I don't know it. If you have a formula with two question marks, you cannot use it. It cannot work. It's like if you have a car and it only had two tires, you just can't drive it. You need four tires to work, something like that. It just can't work. So you need the only way these equations work is when you have one question mark only. So this one could work and that one could work. Okay. This beautiful one can work. And what it will work to give you? You see the question mark is on the word OPP? Well, you could use this formula to find out the OPP, the opposite side. And similarly, this one, you can use this formula to find out the ADJ, the adjacent side. So which one in this question, find the length of E? E is the opposite side. So since we have to find the opposite side, that's what they say, find the length of E, which is the opposite side. We are going to choose this one. This one is not going to give us the opposite side. If they did ask us for the adjacent side, we could use this, but they only ask us for the opposite side. So, so we choose now. Sine equation, I choose U. We write sine, and now we're going to replace the symbol with the values, okay? All right, theta. What number to write for theta? 53.4.
0.4.
So it's 53.4 degrees equals to, what is the opposite side? We don't know that. The opposite side have no number. Since we don't know that, we write the word opposite. And the hypotenuse we know. Look at the drawing. The hypotenuse was 19.4 cm. So we could write down the hypotenuse. We replace the symbol h by p with the value or with the number 19.4. Okay. Now everybody, what did we do here? We replace, so this was step 4, right? What was step 4? Step 4 is we replace the ticks. Replace the ticks with values or with numbers. And what we didn't know, where the question mark was, we leave it just so. Where the question mark was, where the question mark was, we leave it just so. Copy that down, raise your hand when you reach there. I'm coming back. Celine, you done copy? I see Jishon done copy. Cheryl, you done copy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Celine, you done copy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, you know what's this nub? Oh, you ever play a game with these nubs?
Are you chess, and
That's chess. And they have one which look like a horse. That's called the knight. Okay. The castle, the pawn, a king, and a knight. Okay, so if you're playing chess, you just have knobs that you could move and thing, and you can't break them, or else you'll destroy your game. So these knobs are the pieces that you are allowed to move in your game. You can't break up these into smaller pieces. That's not allowed. So I'm going to show you the pieces that you're allowed to move here now with my pencil. You see this sine 53.4 degrees? That's one piece. Think about it as if the sine, SIN, was glued on to the 53.4 degrees. It's all stuck together like one piece. Okay? All stuck together like one piece, not two pieces. So remember that, because I just see some students moving the word sign all over the place, or they will just move the 53.4 away from sign as if they could break it. You can't break it. It's stuck together. Because sign is not a number. Sign is some kind of work that you have to do to 53.4. It's an operation. If you remember for homework, I gave you to find the sign of numbers. So if you find the sign of 53.4, on your calculator, you'll get 0.5 something, something, something. You don't have to do it, but all of this is work out to one number. So we circle it like that. That's a movable piece. The OPP is some number which I don't know as yet. We'll work it out. But that's one number. That's a movable piece. And this 19.4 is another movable piece. So you could take a pencil and circle it just to reinforce in your lesson here that these are the pieces that you can move. And we're going to move them or rearrange them in a way to get the OPP alone upstairs. Maybe we could make a note of that. All right. Step 5. Rearrange the equation by cross multiplying. And why we do not? To make OPP the subject. What do I mean by make OPP the subject? That means get OPP alone on one side. IE means that is. That is to get OPP alone on any side. Copy that down. When you're done, copy that down. Raise your hand. When you learn to do this, you don't have to worry about all them words and instructions. Okay? But I'm making you write it down because it's so much things you just have to remember. So it's good to write it down in case you have trouble remembering it. Are waiting on your Celine. Good. Right. So we're going to continue. Here's the thing, right? I need to get that OBP alone on that side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross multiply this from downstairs here. It's going to go across, and this is like a upstairs. It's kind of like a sine over 1. So it's kind of like this number over 1, as if this was upstairs, and this is downstairs. I'm going to move this to here, next to it, and multiply this piece to that piece. So let me just move it. I'll move it here. So it'll be 19.4 multiplied to sine 53.4. Let me just draw an arrow here. So, oof. Good. So I've drawn an arrow there to show that's where I'm moving it. That's cross multiplying. If all you ever was in my lesson where I give you a story about Navin was living downstairs by his uncle's house. When he did get back to the parents, he moved out from his parents' house and he went next door and lived downstairs by his uncle's house. And finally he made up back with his parents. And when he made up back with his parents, he went back home and he moved in back upstairs with his parents in the house next to his uncle's house. By the way, Navin actually was because he's so rich and thing, he was living in America and thing in California and thing. And during COVID he was sightseeing America and thing with it all the fancy nature places and I know all kind of nice nature place and thing. So he finally coming back, I think today or tomorrow he coming back to Trinidad. I suppose he get the COVID shots. So anyway, when this come across here now, you will get 90. I'll write it over. Write it here. We get 19.4 multiplied to the sine, but I don't need to write any times. I could just write sine. Sine 53.4 degrees, and that is equal to OPP. Okay, that's what you get. You don't need to write times here because a number next to letters means multiplied. But if you were to circle it to know where the pieces are, if you want, you could circle the pieces. It's a 19.4 being multiplied to this here. I'm not circling terms because terms are separated by plus or minuses. I just circling pieces that are movable. Okay. Now, guys, we got OPP alone on one side and it is upstairs because it's kind of like OPP over an invisible one. And it's like all of this over an invisible one. So we good there. We got OPP alone on one side. All we need to do is take out our calculators now and press 19.4 multiply sine 53.4 equal. Type in all of this, 19.4 times. Don't forget to write 10 times. Actually, some calculators, you don't even have to write times. Some calculators, you can just write 19.4 sine 53.4 equal. Try it and see what you get. I'm going to get my calculator because it's not next. Actually, I'll pull up my calculator app here and work with that. $19.4 times
I guess, I think.
what answer you get? 15 something?
I get 15.5746590187.
Good, I'll write that down. The answer I get to was 15.574659 for, I could probably stop here. I could round it off to 4 decimal places, right? And let's write it, that alone. If you write a 6 is not a problem, right? It don't matter. And all of that is equal to OPP. And this is your answer. It's in centimeters. The length of the opposite side is that. But didn't the question say to round it off to 1 decimal place? We're going to round it off to 1 decimal place. That means I'm going to keep the 15 and I'm going to keep this. And the rest of it I want to delete or throw away. Okay? But before I throw away, I take a look at this number. If this is 5 or more, we have to add 1 to this. It is 5 or more. 7 is 5 is more than 5. So that means we're going to add 1 here. So it's going to be 15.6. We can then say here the answer is 15.6 centimeters. Now, and OPP was the E. Find the length of E. So now we can
Yes,
just
sir.
say E. Therefore, E is equal to 15.6 centimeters. And this is when it was approximated to 1 decimal place. You could use the equal sign, or if you wanted to use the approximation sign too, all that is allowed. You could do that. Anything. We are fussy about what you write there. We care about if you did approximate it correctly and get 15.6. Okay, so we went a little bit over the time limit. I want to just make a note of something here. If I have 10 over 5, 10 divided by 5 is 2. Okay, if I was to circle the movable pieces here, you'll see that how the 5 can be moved like that. That's cross multiplying. And what you will end up getting is 5 multiplied to the 2 is equal to 10. So this is, if you could, and then 5 times 2 is 10. So if this works, if this kind of maths kung fu does work out with normal numbers, you know that it can work out with all this complicated numbers and symbols. Okay, just like how we did it here. Okay, so this was just to give you a kind of understanding, a certain that if it could work out so with small numbers, you could do it with big symbols. You could write since. Since this has happened, you know that's how your sum was right. All right. Are you done, copy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to post your homework. Now, your homework is question 1. It's going to be question 1, part A to L. Okay. That means you have a lot of questions to do. Try what you could. If you could try 1 or 2 or 3, if you get any hang of it, do from A to L. If you're catching your ass, if you're catching your tail with it and you can't handle it, well then wait for me. But try. Don't just give up and say no. So we'll teach me it. Give it a try. Right? And this is our next class. We're going to start going through the answers from question A to L. I'll post it up now for you all. And that's it for today. Enjoy your weekend and please give it a try. All right?
Yes, sir.
That's it. Later, guys.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.